Hello, fabulous Pisces. Welcome to your horoscope for the year of 2016, looking at life and love. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This year, we have what is being called by astrologers the mutable T-square. And essentially what this is a combination of planets all in mutable signs like yours, setting up to speak to each other, to create self-honesty, to create motivation, to get us to clear any confusion and get to what really matters. All of us are going to be going through this as a collective, and particularly I think as a collective what we are going to be learning is part of what you are here to remind us is that compassion and unity ultimately are the most important human attributes that exist. It allows us to coexist together. But in your own personal journey, there is a need now for you to shine some of that light on yourself. It's great to say that you have compassion for other people. That's wonderful, right? You're able to see the unity in all of us. That's beautiful. It's another thing to see yourself with those same eyes of acceptance and kindness. You are going to have Neptune in your sign standing across your ancient ruler Jupiter. So this alone is like the old you and the new you trying to figure out where you are now. And then you add Saturn to the mix, right in the middle. And Saturn is making that consideration that much more timely. It's saying that this is work that you must do, and it is saying that this is work that you've got to do right now. And it lets you know on a very deep level that this work is what needs to happen if you are going to have any kind of really big breakthroughs and big progress, especially the kind that you desire in career and in love as well. So we've got Neptune hanging out in your sign and Jupiter in your opposite sign. Having Jupiter in your opposite sign is great for love, okay? That's awesome. And the fact that that Jupiter is speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto, continuing a conversation that started late last year into this year as well, the early part of this year, is great, is so awesome. Because this to me says that on some level, you are connecting to and understanding that there is love available to you, romantic love in particular, but also partnerships of all kinds, people of all kinds as well, are there to love you and support you and encourage you in your own journey of knowing yourself and loving yourself and valuing yourself. So that is very encouraging to me. But then what does that say about you, right? That's part of this expression as well. What does love really require? That's part of this expression as well. As Saturn is moving through the very top of your sky, essentially what this conversation is saying, on the one hand, it's saying, you know, see yourself more clearly and more lovingly, and you can achieve anything you want. The world will open up to you. You know, I think about that quote. It is at the temple to Apollo in Greece, and roughly translates to know thyself, and the wisdom of the cosmos and the heavens and the gods will be available to you. That's what a lot of this conversation is saying. On the one hand, yes, it's very much about wisdom. All these planets are about wisdom. But there's also a very practical element to this, an element that has to do with having passion for achieving something that matters to you, having a sense of direction, having a sense of purpose, having a sense that you are on a path that will only lead to better and better things. First, you got to face some of your fears. First, you got to face some of the things that didn't work, some of the disappointments of the past. But you will do it, and you will excel at it. What we also have is Mars. Mars is going to be moving back and forth between fellow water sign Scorpio and also the very top of your sky, the sign of Sagittarius. So this is where Saturn has been hanging out, and basically Mars is going to move over and like retrace the steps that Saturn took throughout 2014 and 2015, making this a very essential time, an awakening of all that you learned during that time, and a conviction to implement those changes. When I see the fact that Saturn is going to be speaking with Neptune, and again, Neptune being in your sign, one of the first things I want to say to you is just make sure that you're very kind and compassionate and gentle with yourself. That has to be the number one rule. And the reason is because you might not be seeing things accurately. In some ways, you might not be realizing the actual gains and big gains that you are making. You might be feeling like you're fighting, going through this. Mars is going to enter shadow in February. Will really be speaking, will be in retrograde season right into August. So this says to me that much of the year is going to be spent on you feeling motivated and taking action that is going to be very effective, but not necessarily realizing that you are being effective or feeling like you need to be 10 steps ahead when it's always and can only be one step at a time. This essentially says that maybe a few of you out there, a small percentage of you out there, may be hard on yourselves. And that isn't necessary, it isn't needed, especially considering that there is so much inspiration available to you if you ground that energy into action. And that's the thing, when Mars moves into this supremely harmonious position, starting really very early in January, you are going to be experiencing Mars in a supremely harmonious conversation to you, to your Neptune, in the sign of Scorpio, fellow water sign Scorpio. This tells me that you are inspired. This tells me that you get the proverbial it. And this tells me that you can see that there are opportunities there. Nurture that knowing, nurture that knowledge, and nurture the belief that there is something that you are here to do, that only uniquely you can do. This is something I talk about in the weekly horoscopes and the monthly horoscopes as well. But how I approach astrology and what I believe about the sky is that your sky is perfect. It is exactly what it needs to be at any given moment so that you can become more of who it is that is going to be able to do all those things that you uniquely were created to do. In some cases, things that maybe you desired to do before you incarnated. In some cases, the things that you were created to do in the highest vision of yourself. Trust each moment. That understanding is going to be very strongly affirmed right out of the gate this year. That is the knowing. That is the commitment that you want to nurture, that you want to stay certain about. Because ultimately that is going to lead you to some very amazing places. Places of achievement and places where you can truly feel that you channeled this energy and you used it. And ultimately that will redefine you and strengthen you in so many ways. Where it comes to love, I'm just going to say again, Jupiter in your opposite sign is really good, okay, for love. And the fact that this Jupiter is going to be speaking to Pluto speaks volumes about your ability to strengthen any connection that you have, to feel that getting stronger. For a small percentage of you, if you feel that you're in a relationship that hasn't really been working, you'll be able to appreciate that. But again, that's a very small percentage of you. Most of you, I think, are going to find a renewal, are going to find a sense of deepened commitment, a sense of deepened appreciation of why it is that you are with this person, a sense of wisdom of what it is that have brought the two of you together. And if you are open to meeting someone new, this sky is phenomenal for you to make a connection that changes you in ways that are deeply transformative and deeply meaningful to you now and for a long time to come, if not the rest of your life. Regardless of longevity issues, a lot depends on what's happening in your specific birth chart. Things look very promising that the connection would be that strong, that it really could last a very long time to come if it is that you want to attract a new relationship into your life. What I love about this year for you is that the love isn't just about what's coming from other people, but the love is also about you. It's about understanding that you are going to bring universal love to yourself. And that will allow you to appreciate the universal love that is already out there. Remember, Neptune is in your sign. I've been talking again and again. I did special videos about Saturn and Neptune, this conversation. Neptune wins. You win in this conversation. Your love and your commitment to what you understand as a higher vision, a more compassionate way of being with yourself and with the others. This ultimately is going to be what wins for us collectively, but especially is going to allow you to win slowly but surely, but in some ways very powerfully so, at several points throughout this year.
Bu akşam seminerimizi canlı olarak mobil uygulamamız üzerinden yapıyoruz.